Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be building this website section from UI Design Daily, and to do that we're going to be using CSS Flexbox for these cards right here. Now I'm going to be building this mobile first because I think it's going to be much easier to scale it up to desktop sizes than to scale it down to mobile screens. Now if you need the repository, I'm going to place the link to my main repository in the description, just in case you need to go through the past projects that I have done. And if you need to get the links to the projects from UI Design Daily, I also place the links at the bottom there of the README. I'm also going to be adding YouTube links for each of the projects that I managed to record. And of course, if you need the website, I placed the link to the website at the top of the README, which I have opened right here. And you can see I changed the UI and it looks much better now, much more appealing, and it actually looks like we are doing something on it. Okay, so just as always, if you need the sketch file, if you have sketch installed, all you need to do is come and click this button right here. It will download the sketch file for you, which you can open up, but I'm not going to do that. And if you want the color palette that they have used here, you can just come here and grab these colors. So let me just close this down first. Let me open what have here. Now I just generated a simple HTML template using Emmet, and all I did is link my style sheet right here, and I linked Font Awesome from cdnjs.com. So if you need to grab Font Awesome, you can grab it from cdnjs.com and just link it right there. I'm also going to place a link in the description if need be. And I changed the title to website section using CSS Flexbox. Now if you take a look at the style sheet, all I did was grab the background colors that are on the photo right here, on the image right here. I just grabbed the background color, I grabbed this what I've called container color, and the button color, as well as the link color, and that's what I've placed right here. And I also grabbed the Poppins font from fonts.google.com, and I imported it into my CSS file at the top right there. So let's get started by going back to our HTML, and let me just place this side by side like this so that you can see what I'm doing. Now because I'm going to be building this mobile first, I actually want this to be shrunken like that. Okay, and then you can say, let me place a container, let me place a div with the class of container like that, and it say it has a h1 saying why board me, and it has a paragraph. Now I'm not going to be placing this paragraph, I'm just going to use lorem ipsum just for faster development. I'm going to say lorem 15 like that, and inside the container I'm going to place a div with the class of cards, which will contain these divs that you can see here, these three divs right there. And for the first one, I want a div inside, and I want an icon from Font Awesome, and the icon has a class name of FAS and another class of FA-link like that. And below the link I want an h3 saying, or not an h, let me just say an h4 saying seamless integration, and it has a paragraph, and I'm going to use lorem ipsum again, and I'm going to say lorem 20 like that. It's much easier. And then I'm going to grab this div. Oops, sorry, it has a button. Let me add the button, and for the button it just says get started, and it has an icon as well from Font Awesome. The icon class is FAS and FA-chevron right like that. Now I'm going to grab this and copy it down 2 more times like that, and I'm going to change this to a link instead. Okay, let me just grab both of them, and I say I want a link that will go nowhere, of course. And I'm going to say browse our documentation, and it has an icon of the same chevron right, chevron dash right like that. And this link says pricing details like that. And you can change the h4 tags for the second div, and it says help along the way. And it has, for the third one, the h4 says transparent payment solution like that, and we can open this up with live server just so we can style it. We can see as we style it. Now I'm just going to place this side by side much better. Okay, so let me just grab the alt selector here and say I want the margin to be 0. What am I doing? I want the margin to be 0. I want the padding to be 0. I want the box sizing to be border box, and I want the body to have a font family of Poppins and a fallback of sans serif, and I want the background color to be the variable that I've placed up there called BG color like that. Save that, and you can see it's right there. Let me just change the text color to white like that. Okay, now we can begin to style the container, and I want the container has a background color of container color that I've also placed a variable for container color like that. You can see it's a bit lighter than the background color. Let me add some padding on the container of 50 pixels. Looks too much. Let me say 30 pixels. Okay, and I want a margin just so I can leave some bit of space between the container and the background color of the body. I want to say a margin on the top of 50 pixels and 20 pixels on the left and right like that. Let me just add a border radius on the container, and I'll say I want a border radius of 5 pixels. You might not see it, but when you are doing this, when you're coding along, you'll actually see what this does. The reason why you can't see it is because the tint and the shade of these colors is just too close that you can't really tell the difference. Okay, so because this is a mobile stream, I actually want to align everything to the center. So I'm just going to go to the body and say text align center like that. It looks much better this way on a mobile screen. And then now we can begin to style the individual elements. And I want first of all, I want the H1 inside the container, and I want the font size to reduce to 30 pixels like that. And then I want some padding on the bottom, of about 10 pixels. And then because I want to style this paragraph separately from these other ones, I'm just going to give it a class of I want to give it a class of description like that, desk, and I'm going to say for the container I want the paragraph with the class of desk like that, and I want the font size. In fact, this is for all paragraphs, so let me just remove this first. I want the font size to be let's say 14 pixels. Okay, and then I want padding on the bottom of 20 pixels. Okay, and then next, what do I want? Sorry, that was me cracking my finger. Next I want let me target these divs individually now. Okay, so I'm going to say I want the container, and I want the cards class, and I want the divs inside the cards class, so I can add a margin on the bottom of the divs of 20 pixels so that they can separate. So you can see that this is actually for this, and then you can say what can you say right here? We can begin to style these H4s actually. Let me first grab the links. Okay, let me just first grab the links. Oh, I didn't change the links. I didn't change the icons I made. So this icon, because I couldn't find this icon on font awesome, so I'm just going to use a baseball icon, and for this one I'm going to use the sun icon. Okay, so I'm going to change the second one to baseball dash ball. That's the name of the icon, and this third one to sun like that. Very simple. Okay, now let me grab the icons, because if you look in this image, you can see that the icons have a border radius around them. So that's what I want to do. I want to add a border around them, not a border radius. I want to add a border around them, and I want to say the border should be 1 pixel, solid, and what color should I give it? Icon color. Okay, I want to give it a class of icon color like that. Let me say a padding of 10 pixels, padding of 10 pixels, and I want a border radius of 50% so that it's circular like that. Now you'll notice that it styled all the icons inside the divs. We're going to fix that in a moment, but so far this looks much better. Let me increase this div to 40 pixels just so that this can separate much better. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is grab these h4s. So I'm going to say grab the divs, and I want the h4s, and I want a padding on the bottom of the h4s to be 20 pixels, and I want a font size of 15 pixels on the h4s, just so that they can become much smaller. Let's see, 14. Okay, in fact this should be padding on the top and bottom of 20 pixels and 0 on the left and right, so that it also pushes away from the icon. Okay, now I just want to add some padding on below this paragraph. That's why I give it an individual class. So I'm going to grab this p container right there, and I want to start the paragraph with the class of description. That's how you target it. And I want to say padding on the bottom to be 40 pixels like that, so that it just moves, it pushes it down further. Okay, and then next, what I actually want to do next is grab these paragraphs and reduce their sizes. So I'm going to grab this, and I want to say for the paragraph to have a font size of 13 pixels. And next I want to style these buttons, but let me just first get rid of these borders on the links, and I can do that by grabbing this. So what I do, I style this wrong. This should be paragraph. Okay, like that. I want to grab the links. First of all, there's a button and then there's a link inside, and then for the second one it's an href and then an icon. I keep calling this link, I mean an icon. I keep calling this I tag a link, but I mean an icon. Okay, and I want to say for both of them I want the border to be none. And you can see the border disappears here, disappears there, and disappears there. So now I can begin to style this button, and I want to say that for the button I want a background color of button color, and then I want the text color to be white. I want the padding to be 10 pixels with a border radius of 30 pixels and a border of 2 pixels solid and the same button color. And I want a transition effect, transition of 0.4 seconds and a cursor pointer like that. And then I can grab this again and say for the hover effect, for the hover state, I keep saying effect, but I mean the hover state. Okay, for the hover state, actually let me break this down, and I want for the hover state I want the background color to be transparent, and I want actually that's it really, but this padding is too much. Let me reduce this padding to 8 pixels. Too much. 5 pixels like that. Let me change this font family, because buttons don't inherit the font family, so I'm just going to say the font family should inherit like that. Inherit, I can spell. That looks much better. And next I want to target these links. Actually let me just go up here and say that for all the links I want what do you want? I want a text declaration of none. Let me move this down right there. Text declaration of none, and I want the links to have a color of white, and I want the links to have a font size of 12 pixels, because these are the only links that we're going to be styling, so there's no need to actually style them individually. And yeah, I think this is done for the mobile version. Okay, this is done for the mobile version, and this will work until about 700 pixels, about 600 pixels. Let me begin to style it at 600 pixels and above. So we can do that by adding a media query. and saying from a min width of 600 pixels, meaning 600 pixels and above. 600 pixels and above, we want to say the container, not really the container, I want the body first of all to text align to the left, text align to the left like that, so that it doesn't align to the center again. And then I want to limit this paragraph right here, because as you can see it doesn't go to the end. Okay, it's only about 50%. Okay, so I'm going to say let me resize this a bit, and I'm going to say that what's happening here? What is happening? What is happening? Okay, we'll fix it, no worries. I want the body text align left, and I want the cards, let me see, the container, the cards, I want them to display flex so that they can be in raw form like that. But I want a flex wrap of wrap, so that once they all take up a space in the window, they automatically go to the next line, so that it doesn't create a horizontal scroll bar, or it doesn't seem as squeezed as it is right here. See that? If I increase this, you'll see already. The reason why it's not doing that, because I need to place a width on the divs inside the cards, and I want to say this width should be 300 pixels like that. Looks much better. And I want what else do I want? The next thing that I want is for why can't I think? I'm struggling to think. Let me just limit this first of all. Okay, so I'm going to say the container, and I want the paragraph, the class of description, and I want to say the width should be 400 pixels, just so that is limited to the left. Okay, and then once we get to about 768 pixels, I want this to come up here. Will that work? Let me just try something. I want for the media, oh my god, what am I typing? Media of min width of 768 pixels. I want these. Actually, wait a minute. If that would work, then it would have already worked, really. Yeah, so this is about 900 pixels. That's when it would go to the, about 1000. Okay, that's when it will go to the center. But what I want to do, because I don't want too much of this space right here, I want to limit this. I want to limit this container, and I want to place it to the center, so that I will say that let me just look at this for a moment. This is let me add a width on the container when it's above 600 pixels, and I'm going to say for the container I want the width to be 500 pixels, and I want the margin to be auto. Wait a minute, it was, what was it? It was 50 pixels on the top and bottom, and auto on the left and right, so that it centers. Let me see, will that work really? Okay, that actually works. Which means that I'm going to still need this to display to text align center, but that doesn't work because I limited this, so I'm going to remove this like that. Okay, that looks much better. That actually looks much better. And I want, now all I'm going to be doing is now increasing the size of the container. So let me just do that, and you can say that I want the container to have a width of 700 pixels. Let's see how it would look, and it looks like that. And let me just remove this. Let me remove this for now. Remove that for now. Let's see, where is 768 pixels? It's about, yeah, but this still looks, it still looks lost somehow, you know, it still looks lost somehow. but I'm not going to worry about that now. I'm going to add this when it's 1000 pixels. This is where the fun will begin, and I want the width. Let me actually say, okay, no, it's fine. Let me say this should be 950 pixels, and I want the divs, and I want the divs of the cards. I want these divs to have a width of 300 pixels. Let me increase this to 1200, increase this to 1100. That looks much better. That looks much better. But why is this still, let me say margin order, like that. That will center them much better. Let me increase some padding on the container, and I want to say padding of 100 pixels on the top and bottom and 50 on the left and right. Let me increase also the margin on the top of the container, and I will say margin top to 200 pixels, like that. Actually this, okay, let me text line to the left, I forgot that. I want the body to text line to the left, like that, and I want to limit now this paragraph, so I'm going to say the container and the paragraph, the class of description, I want the width to be 400 pixels. Much better, much better, massively better actually. So let me just try and deal with this now. Okay, it looks fine for this up to around here. That was the width of 700. Okay, that was the width of 700. So what can we do? We can actually limit this further, and I can say that I want to target the paragraphs inside the container, and I can do that by saying the container, and I want the paragraphs to have a width of 400 pixels. But that will break something, I'm sure of it. That is going to break something somewhere. Move this above. What? Are you serious? Okay, that's why. That's why we can limit this to 600. 700. Return this, remove this, remove this, remove this as well. Instead of adding this, let me say padding of 0 on the left and right. On the top and bottom, I mean add about 50 pixels on the left and right. Okay, 20 pixels. This breaks. This really breaks. Now what did I change? What did I change? Remove this. What's this? Let me check this. Let me inspect this. This 4 has a padding of 20 pixels. Why did I add padding bottom? Okay, I added this wrong. On the left and right, like that. Yeah, that looks much better. It's a bit sloppy in the coding if you're coding alone, but I'm sorry for that. You can add media queries for this right here. You see, the reason why I was trying to deal with this is because once you're on a screen like this, these two sides, they seem left out, you know. They seem like they are misplaced in a way. So actually, let me just challenge you and say that maybe you can add a media query for this. Add a media query for this so that it doesn't look as lost as it is. And then once you're done with that, you can upload it to Netlify, like I showed you in the previous video. And then once you've done that, leave a comment with the link in the description, and I'm going to visit it, and then before the start of the next video I'm going to review it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts about it. Okay, so thank you guys for watching, and I hope you learned something new with the website layout skills with CSS Flexbox. I hope you learned something new, and do welcome back for another video. Leave a like, share, and subscribe, and ring the bell to always be updated on the new content. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.